how have you tried to develop your sense of style? Because, obviously pipes have a fixed like general shape that needs to be required for it to be a useful utensil. But,
Sure.
how have you designed in a way that's Rob? Like, this is soft-spoken glass. This is, you just know it when you see it.
Right. I think a lot of this silver fume stuff that I've been doing is just kind of like I've been doing a lot of it. So I guess when people see it, they'll be like, yeah, Rob probably made that one. But I guess I don't have anything that's just like super mine, because anyone that wants to learn how to fume can learn how to do that and probably do something similar. But yeah, I actually, right now, since in my career, I guess timing, so I've been in 4 years, I actually just like doing a lot of things that I've never done before. So just like, just practice and just finding things that I like to make glass that I like personally. I like a lot of line work. I love fume, recyclers, so that's what I try to make.
Sure.
But I don't have anything that's like mine, I don't have anything that's just like, some people have like, there's this one guy who makes just pencils, like glass pencils that look like a, regular pencils. But, when you see one of those, that's like him. And sometimes like that's all that they make too, so I like making everything. I don't want to just like be stuck making one thing because, why? There's one way to look at it. If a bunch of people really want that one thing, you should probably make it, whatever. But like, you as a person want to make other things. I as a person want to make, more recyclers, different designs or whatever. So I wouldn't want to just be stuck making one thing. So that's how I kind of find, so I don't have my one thing yet, that's mine, but I'm just exploring so far.
And that's good. And it takes years to get to that level too within your craft.
True.
So, you said yourself, you're only 4 years into it. But at a certain point, there is going to be, and it's not that everything will look the same, but you'll just have that imprint where people can just tell that's Rob.
Yeah.
He made that.
Yeah, because like when I was learning from some guys that would do a lot of production work, they would make things that are exactly the same. So they would do the same moves. They would heat it up for this amount of time. They would even count it out. They would say this angle for 12 seconds, this angle for 15, and then do the same move over. And that's how you can achieve to make something the same, by doing literally everything you do the same. So starting off with the same material, using the same flame, So that's one way to do it.
Yeah, and so that's how when you go into a shop, sometimes you'll see several pieces that are like, you can tell they were like made in the same family.
Yeah, definitely.
And they basically are just literally repeating the exact steps. Because like you said, it's such a dynamic equation where like it's all about the amount of time you spend on a certain thing, a certain temperature, the angle that you're doing it. Are you fuming? Are you adding silver into it? All these other elements that all like are going to play some sort of factor in the end result, whether it's the shape or the color or the design. So to me, that seems very difficult to repeat the exact same thing multiple times. But I guess if you've nailed that process down, then it probably becomes a lot easier.
Definitely. Yeah. If you do the same thing, you get good at it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like in some factories, one person does one thing every day. So you can get really good at like flaring out a foot on a wine glass. If you do that 100 times a day and that's all you do, you'll get pretty good at it, and they'll all probably look the same.
How often is glass made by robots versus humans?
That I don't know too much. I know that like some of the glass, when it's made, like starting material, it's pulled by a machine. Some people like some of the colored stuff, like this line tubing, that's usually pulled by hand. So there's no robots in doing that.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know about actual like scientific pieces or like production pieces that are like in the industry or whatever, that are like made by robots or anything like that.
Yeah, I was just curious because like sometimes, you can order like Chinese glass online and you just think, you're like, is somebody really just sitting there making this exact piece over and over and over again? Or is like a robot or some mold part of the process to make it? Yeah,
I've seen some like videos from like warehouses that are like in China or whatever, and there's one person that's doing the same thing, and he's maybe working on 3 pieces at the same time, but he's doing the same thing, so he, like I was saying, flaring out the foot. This one guy I was watching, he would flare out the foot, and he would like be heating up another one so he can flare it out, and he'll just put it down, and then someone will take it and move it on to the next step. And he's just doing that all day.
Well, then that makes more sense.
Yeah, because I've always wondered, like a robot.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. Yeah, if you're just doing the same thing over and over and over again.
You're programmed to do that one thing.
Literally. What about like percolators and stuff? That seems like a very challenging aspect of making like a bong with a percolator.
Yeah, like the tree looking ones or whatever. Yeah, some of those are cut by like, you can use a wet saw, or I guess some people are using like lasers to cut it too, just to make things easier. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to actually use like a tool to like heat it up and like pop a hole or whatever.
Sure.
So yeah, there's a lot that goes into those too. Some like when we're making our tubes, we can just buy those perks too, because people just make them just to sell. Mm-hmm. Some of those are usually made in China, but
yeah, that's interesting. Because like, you know, when I look at I got a bong, it's like probably like this tall, and it has a tree perk in it. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, how did you make the tree perk within this tube?
Yeah.
With that detail, how did that all come together?
Yeah, it's just like you make that one little piece, like either on the bench or on the lathe, and then you attach it to another piece that gets like inserted into the tube, and you do that weld. And yeah, that's like, I actually got to see that done when the lathe worker, his name's Sam, that he started working at our shop. He showed me how to do that, and I was like, oh, so that's how it's done.
Yeah.
I've seen those. Like when I first started smoking, you would see nothing but tree perk bongs, and I mean, I wanted one that had like 4 of them in it or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I see it done. He never really made the perk itself, as far as like the tree one to have like 7 or 13 arms or whatever. Mm-hmm. But we bought them and like made them with our pieces. So.
Damn. Okay. And what is the best perk? There's so many different designs. What does the best
personal.
job?
I think it's all preference, like whatever you like. Some people like things that are super airy, like if you're mm-hmm. pulling on a piece and you can just like, you don't really feel any restriction. Mm-hmm. Everyone has their own thing, you know. Some people don't like a lot of diffusion, so if you got those tree perks that have like a bunch of slits in them, you're making a lot of bubbles, and it might kind of just steal the flavor away from your hit. Some people just like, they'll just take a dry piece and just, you know, hit it dry, and that's the way they like it. So
yeah, that's just too harsh for me. Yeah, I like my perks, man. I like it diffusing it a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think it's stealing any THC or anything away from it. So
it's just stealing heat.
Yeah, heat, and just making more bubbles, and maybe some more flavors getting lost in the bubbles. But yeah, it's not as harsh. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think for me, yeah, comfort level's got to be a top priority, especially because like a bong, when you're ripping a bong, like you're gonna take a hit to the face, and it's gonna be a strong hit.
Yeah, if you like roast that whole bowl, that's pretty hot.
Yes, it's pretty hot. And so with the fact that the percolator and the water is able to cool that temperature down significantly by the time it hits your mouth, mm-hmm. I mean, it just makes it more enjoyable to me. And I've never noticed it not still having flavor. You know,
right,
I still taste it. I mean, if you fill that motherfucker up,
regardless of good weed, you're still going to taste a good weed.
Especially with good weed, especially now that here in Chicago, I mean, it's...
God, yeah, you can only find good weed, I think, now.
Yeah.